Let's check it out.
What's up, dude?
You go.
Why would you?
I'm telling you, she ain't gonna get up.
Police are at the home of Norma Carricker after receiving a frantic call from her son. He was heavily drunk, but managed to say enough. Someone ran out of the house, and he heard his mother scream.
Police department. Ma'am. Oh,
Norma was already dead, strangled with a bungee cord.
40 some other units to clear the house. This looks like a homicide. You might want to get a canine track started. Somebody ran out the back door.
In the days that followed, detectives would uncover an extensive list of suspects, each with their own dark motives, jealous exes, hidden family secrets, a lucrative life insurance payout, and jealous exes, hidden family secrets, a lucrative life insurance payout, and even a decades-old family murder, turning this seemingly simple welfare check into one of the most twisted homicide cases the town had ever seen.
These are our only means of information. Without you, we have nothing.
She had a nice
Carrie to choose with my mom, for her money, and I even begged her one period and end up dead.
The kids would blame me because they know I didn't like them.
Said it was so good, make you want to slap your mom. I'm gonna kill
All
your
right,
mom.
bro, this shit is getting out of hand, my nigga.
Because they know I didn't like them.
Said it was so good, make you want to slap your mom. I'm gonna kill your mom.
Okay.
In the early hours of a Wednesday morning at 1:30 a.m., police in Troy, Illinois received a confusing call from an intoxicated man.
911, what's the address emergency?
She's on a low road.
What happened?
Taking out, huh?
Tell me exactly what happened.
My mom must have went on a date last night. I heard the guy leave out the back door and I heard shit. And I went up there, heard the dog, and I went up there, Mom, I didn't hear from Mom. I walked through the house, my mom ain't responding.
Your mom's not responding? Does she need the ambulance?
I didn't even want to go in there. They were like, bang, bang, bang.
Does she need an ambulance?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, so are you wanting a welfare check done on her then?
Please.
Okay, what is your name, sir?
My name is Neil, N-E-I-L.
The caller struggled to provide clear details, but it was apparent that someone inside the home was unresponsive. With limited information, 2 officers were quickly dispatched to investigate the strange situation, not knowing exactly what they'd find upon their arrival.
What's up?
I hear the dog whining from the basement. Mom tells me screws up the kitchen that she's got a date on the way.
Okay.
And I guess it's that date on the computer?
Yo, this nigga,
On Tinders or whatever? I don't know. I'm afraid to go in that room. I hear the dog whining in that room.
So you live here, sir?
I live in the basement, man. I opened my heart surgery a year and a half ago. She turned the country music on real loud so I can't hear.
Oh, she did that?
My mom does it every day. Blast it. Some old sorrow country music. Because she misses her husband or whatever, but she brings guys into the house.
So unfortunately, she can't do that. We can certainly check on her, though, and make sure she's okay if you live there.
Please.
Certainly.
Man, the dog is whining.
So you live in this house,
I
though?
live in the basement.
Okay, so you live here. That's all I needed.
Man, I'm not. The dog is trying to get out.
Well,
bro,
I
why
tell
does
you
he
what,
keep
how
on
about
saying
this?
shit about this
How about
stupid ass
you
dog?
Go see if you can get her before we go.
Clearly intoxicated, Neil struggled to explain himself. It sounded like his mother had a date over, but he failed to clarify what was wrong. Despite their uncertainty, officers followed Neil inside, completely unaware of the gruesome murder scene they were walking into.
What's up, dude?
You go.
Why do I have to get up?
I'm telling you, she ain't gonna get up.
Okay, but you can hear her?
She's not a word. I pushed her a couple times. She's bleeding out the mouth.
She's what?
Bleeding out the mouth. Man.
She's bleeding out the mouth.
Police department.
You said she got blood coming out of her
well. I said, she's not. They're calling me, my mom.
Ma'am.
Crazy.
Oh shit.
Officers stepped inside to find Neil's mother, Norma Carricker, lying unconscious on her bed with a cord wrapped around her neck. It was
What?
clear she'd been strangled, but Officer Alex quickly realized something else. She might still be alive.
Pop him, Daniel. Where did that guy go?
I went out the back door.
For right now, let's do reanimation.
146, keep roll out here.
Listen, you're just okay.
Huh?
Somebody
I'm putting on my car, my lawyer. Welcome in. Welcome in.
As Neil
You can't just. Alright. Can you see?
was detained and removed from the scene, Officer Alex immediately began performing CPR on Norma. She wasn't breathing, but her body was still warm, indicating she had only recently stopped breathing, and there was still hope she could be saved.
Hey, LT. Yeah. Come here real quick. She's still warm to the touch. Somebody strangled her. It's homicide, man. So we have not cleared the rest of the house yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep working on her. The son's intoxicated. He said somebody ran out the back. No description. We have him detained in the car.
He's in the car?
We have him detained.
Okay.
I don't know. He said she had somebody over here, but he said that she was just talking to him a couple minutes ago. She's warm.
Okay.
No pulse. Not conscious, not breathing.
Officer Alex continued performing CPR for over 7 minutes, desperately trying to save Norma's life. Paramedics soon arrived and immediately took over, continuing life-saving efforts. At the same time, officers scrambled to search the property for the man Neil claimed had fled the scene. A K-9 unit was dispatched to track any trace of the mysterious suspect.
You might want to get a K-9 track started. He said, somebody ran out the back door. She's intoxicated. It looks like somebody wrapped a bungee cord around her neck.
Okay, where was the dude at when you got here?
She was outside. We contacted him. Just a towel.
Basement stairs leading into basement of the south.
What the fuck?
North back door. Door's locked.
Despite their efforts, the mysterious date seemed to have vanished without a trace, and the search revealed no tracks or evidence indicating where he'd gone. Back inside the house, there was nothing the paramedics could do to save Norma. Too much time had passed
Oh
with
my
her airway
God.
blocked, and she was declared deceased at the scene. What officers didn't yet realize is that Norma was the wife of the late Charles Carricker, the former mayor of Troy, Illinois. Since then, she's been trying to rebuild her life with her son, Neil Howard, whose own father had also died tragically years before. These details would become much more important later on in the investigation. But for now, officers had no immediate clues to track down Norma's date, so they brought Neil to the police station, hoping his sober recollection might help clarify exactly what happened. Initially, investigators
What the
believed they had a
fuck?
clear-cut case. Either Neil Howard was responsible for his mother's murder, or the unidentified date she spent the evening with was. But they had no idea Neil's interview was only the tip of the iceberg, and soon they'd uncover others close to Norma with strong motives to see her dead. But before we get to that, have you ever wondered what your ancestors were really like? My heritage is the easiest, fastest, major little greatest father with over rural areas southeast of Oslo. They record link in the description.
Hey, Joe.
What am I doing here, man? You recall my...
Here's the thing. You are our only means to any information at this moment. But we have to do a
You
search.
know, I can't walk through, and now I'm going to the wrong room.
We have to search for it before we do anything.
Why am I here?
Because you're our only means to information. Without you, we have nothing.
Why am I here?
Because you're our only means to information. Without you, we have nothing. I need you to be doing it. Okay? Yeah, so I'll get you a bottle of water. Just it's fine, I'll get it for you.
Everybody knows the border me.
At the station, Neil's severe intoxication prevented detectives from reading him his Miranda rights or questioning him. They had no choice but to let him sleep it off overnight.
What
hoping
the
he'd be sober
fuck?
enough later in the day. By morning, police were back at Norma's home, preparing to speak with family members arriving at the scene. Until now, investigators only had Neil's unreliable story to guide them. However, this would soon change, as officers would unexpectedly cross paths with their next prime suspect.
So we're gonna let the coroner come out and talk to you too.
Okay.
Okay, we'll kind of explain a little bit about.
Is my mom deceased?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is my brother in jail?
He's being talked to right now, about, cause he lives here too.
So we all just woke up and we all just kind of, Neil blew my phone up last night. And so I just kind of had a feeling, something.
What do you mean he blew your phone up?
On Facebook. He told me that. That my mom had some guy over here and that they were, I guess, having or something like that.
Yo.
And it was gross and, so.
What time was that?
1:30. But I just wanted you guys to know that there's probably a bunch of people on their way right now to, my sister's coming, Neil's girlfriend's coming.
So how'd you get alerted to this today? What exactly happened?
I had a call from my friend that lives in this neighborhood back here at 5:50 a.m. I guess she was maybe on her way to work. And she called to see if everything was okay. So there was a bunch of police at my mom's with caution tape up.
Okay. Who was that? Who called?
Her name is Lori. She came.
When was the last time you talked to Norma?
Honestly, I haven't talked to her. It's been probably, I don't know, it's been several months.
When was the last time you talked to Neil?
It was last night for my bed.
What time was that?
Hey.
Probably around 11, between 1 and 2, I missed a gazillion calls. And I woke up, sleeping up, and I couldn't get any call, and answer. I got and just sitting here.
2 minutes.
What's going on?
She said he texted you?
Yeah, he's freaked out. He's like, I can't understand what I do,
Do you mind showing me those texts, please? Which is different than what he told our officers, said he had contact with him. Yeah.
As officers continued speaking with Norma's daughters, Andrea and Jenny, and Neil's girlfriend Dawn, something odd quickly stood out. Despite being informed that her mother had just died, Andrea's demeanor was
That's what I'm saying. She's talking about some
unusually upbeat. She seemed strangely calm for someone who had just lost a parent in such a violent way. But while officers were still gathering statements, their attention was suddenly drawn away when a white pickup truck slowly drove by.
Whoa.
Is Norma all right?
Well,
She's a close friend of mine. Is Norma all right?
we'll discuss that in a little bit, okay, sir?
It was Terry Deeds.
That's Terry Deeds?
This was the first time officers made direct contact with Terry Dietz. Dawn confirmed he was Norma's boyfriend, quickly adding that their relationship was known to be turbulent. Yet, when Terry drove by the scene, he referred to Norma simply as a close friend, clearly downplaying their connection. These details quickly placed Terry Dietz as a key person of interest in Norma's murder, and detectives would soon uncover that Terry not only had a complicated relationship with Norma, but also a tempting financial motive. So, to move forward, detectives brought Terry in for questioning later that day. They needed to understand the nature of this relationship with Norma, confirm his whereabouts on the night she was killed, and most importantly, find out if he had any hidden motives to want her dead.
You gotta help me with some information.
Well, that's kind of what we need you for too. We know you know Norma very well.
Yes.
I know you guys have been dating or in love or something like that.
Yeah. I never got really close with Norma.
So when is the last time you talked to her?
7:45 p.m. last night.
Oh, okay.
She asked me to come out to the Lucky Rooster in St. Jacob.
So 7:45 p.m. at Lucky Rooster?
Yes.
You were out there and saw her?
Yes.
Was anybody else there?
Just me.
Nobody else there or anything of that sort?
No, that was the same table.
Okay, perfect. No, not even at the table. Like, it looked like there was a guy hanging out at the bar, like he was trying to hit on her or talk to her or anything of that sort.
Oh, I didn't have numbers.
Okay, you get what I mean by that though? Like,
Yeah.
there's nobody else there.
Terry told detectives he'd seen Norma earlier that evening at her workplace, the Lucky Rooster. It wasn't much, but it was the first solid lead detectives had about Norma's final hours. However, something about Terry's demeanor caught detectives' attention. Terry seemed strangely calm, almost detached, despite learning that Norma had just died under suspicious circumstances hours ago. This lack of emotion would soon make more sense when detectives asked Terry about Norma's will.
Do you know if she had a will or a life insurance policy or anything of that sort that you would have been a beneficiary of?
Yes. I am the beneficiary on New York Life.
Okay. What is it?
How much?
What is it? You said it's New York Life. Is it her life insurance?
It's a life insurance policy.
For Norma?
Yes.
Okay.
This question wasn't asked at random. Detectives had already zeroed in on a critical piece of information Terry wasn't aware of. After his suspicious interaction with officers earlier in the morning, detectives took a closer look into his relationship with Norma. They quickly discovered Terry was the sole beneficiary of one of Norma's life insurance policies, and that just hours after learning of her death, he had already contacted the insurance company, urgently inquiring about collecting the $14,000 payout. And the timing couldn't have been more suspicious, as Terry's call
He did it.
came shortly after he drove past the crime scene and asked officers about Norma's condition. With this revelation, Terry Dietz quickly became one of the prime suspects in Norma's murder, alongside Neil Howard, Norma's volatile son, and her still unidentified date. Conveniently, once Terry started feeling the pressure, he began pointing fingers elsewhere.
I told Norma so many times that please find a place to live. I told her, please no, you never kill me. And when she said that he would get irate, I saw him get irate, this was several months ago, at Norma because she wouldn't give him any money to go get booze. She said, I'm not going to give you any money, blah, blah, blah. And he was tired.
Terry wasted no time deflecting suspicion onto Neil Howard, characterizing him as an aggressive, violent alcoholic. Detectives saw through Terry's tactic right away, but this next statement would actually force detectives to reconsider Neil as a serious threat.
Is there anybody else you think of that we should talk to? Hey, we probably ought to talk to this person, or hey, this person. Somebody we wouldn't know or would miss, or hey, that would kill Norma. Well, nobody even know anything about Norma, or they can relate anything to do with Norma.
As I sat there this morning, I was thinking about, going through records and stuff, and what the kids would blame me or accuse me of, because they know I didn't like them, because of the way they treated their mother. They were very mean to their mother.
Well, what do you know about her son?
Well, I know she had a lot of problems with him. If I will, let me start with what I know. He killed his dad. Supposedly it was self-defense.
Terry's claim here wasn't just a defensive reaction. It was a troubling fact that would compel detectives to end his interview and shift their attention. On November 21st, 2005, in Mesquite, Texas, Neil Howard shot and killed his father, George Howard. According to Neil, the two had been drinking heavily and arguing throughout the day. The fight escalated when George fired a round inside the home. Neil claimed that during the struggle to take the gun away, it went off, striking his father through the eye and killing him instantly. Neil was 26 at the time. He called his sister Andrea, who urged him to contact the police. When officers arrived, they found him inside the house, severely intoxicated. Neil insisted it was self-defense. He was arrested and charged, but the trial ended in a hung jury. Eventually, Neil was acquitted, and the case was closed. Now, suspicion hung heavily over both men. Neil's violent past was undeniably troubling, and without corroborating his account and locating Norma's date, detectives couldn't clear him. Similarly, Terry's quick presence at the crime scene and his suspiciously swift attempt to claim Norma's life insurance meant detectives needed to thoroughly verify his alibi as well. Detectives needed to keep a close eye on both men for the moment and focus their investigation on identifying the mysterious man Norma spent the evening with. Fortunately, Terry had given detectives a crucial lead when he mentioned that Norma was working at the Lucky Rooster on the evening before her death. So to verify this statement, officers visited Norma's workplace to speak with her co-workers and collect any helpful information. When officers arrived at the Lucky Rooster, they discovered something crucial: surveillance cameras that had captured footage from that very night. What detectives saw on those recordings would open an entirely new set of questions. On the evening of September 12, 2023, surveillance footage captured Norma Carricker leaving the Lucky Rooster with an unidentified man. This footage marks the beginning of Norma's last known movements. Approximately 30 minutes later, Norma and the same man were captured by cameras arriving at the Timeout Bar and Grill. Footage showed them spending roughly an hour inside, talking, drinking, and appearing comfortable in each other's company before leaving together. It was the last time Norma was seen alive. With a bungee cord used to strangle Norma, detectives quickly concluded this murder was personal, possibly a crime of anger or jealousy. They speculated that this mysterious date could have turned violent for some reason, strangling Norma and fleeing before police arrived. The absence of forced entry further supported Neil's story. Detectives now urgently needed Neil's sober recollection to identify and locate Norma's date. After several hours in custody, Neil Howard was finally sober enough to speak with detectives. They needed his recollection to gain some clarity. Without it, they had no way to identify Norma's date or determine Neil's own fate in the investigation.
She called me, newspaper by name Terry, and she said she might have company. And I heard my mom's voice, but
I sit there to listen and listen, I heard them banging off the either the headboard or the dresser.
Is that where they were?
Okay. And then I heard her saying, you ain't gotta do, you ain't gotta go. And it wasn't to the making noise. I didn't hear that, and I get up and check to make sure that the back door is closed.
And that's what you did when you
When I was upstairs, I heard the dog whining in her room.
And did you go in there?
No, I didn't open the door.
The door was
I went down there, I was like, Wayne, come here, Wayne, come here.
And you said the door to the room was open.
Outside the room, the dog was inside, but the door was cracked. I went hollering, her mom went answering, the mom heard her voice. Right, and the way it went silent to me.
What made you decide to call?
Because my grandma had a single mom with a kid. She tried to say he said
This dude is suspicious.
Right from the start, detectives noticed Neil's story wasn't adding up. On the 911 call, Neil implied he had already found his mother unresponsive, but now, in the interview room, he insisted he didn't enter her room until officers arrived. Neil would continue giving fragmented accounts throughout the interview, struggling to clearly recall important details. But in between his confused recollections, he suddenly brought up another man, someone he claimed was actively manipulating his mother, Norma.
She had a guy, I'll tell you this guy, I've done this guy. Perry was his name. And she pays her, she don't need to work 3 jobs. Tom Perry took care of all of it. She has no bills. This guy, every day, she just was on his side to sue my other sister for 30 G's. This guy runs around town. She's supporting this guy.
His name's Terry?
Terry.
Though the details were disjointed, Neil seemed upset with Terry Dietz, the same man already under suspicion of Norma's murder, accusing him of taking advantage of his mother, draining her money, and turning her against the rest of the family. Neil's anger towards Terry further confirmed detectives' existing suspicions, giving them even more reason to closely scrutinize his involvement. But by now, Neil had been at the station for several hours and was becoming anxious, demanding to leave. Detectives still didn't inform him of his mother's death, and holding him any longer without explaining why was becoming difficult to justify. It was time to deliver the tragic news and brace for Neil's reaction.
I gotta give him a situation long. This is gonna ruin everything. Everybody think I wanna let her down slow. And I don't want to tell her that fault.
No, your mom's deceased, right?
No.
Your mom's deceased.
I said she was hurt.
Your mom's deceased. So that's why we're making this into what we need to have you around available for us, okay?
No, I went to see my sister.
Right now,
Oh, sit down, okay? I'm home.
you're not leaving.
You're not leaving, is that right?
You're not leaving.
Oh, is that right?
Your mother's deceased. You're the only person we know that saw her last we can talk to.
I didn't see her last night.
You did too.
I seen her last night.
You walked in there when the officer transferred to the room last morning, so you're the only one we have.
You're the last person that saw her, correct?
I didn't see her last night until they told me to go in there.
Absolutely, we know that. But then you spoke with her at 8:30.
I knew it.
You spoke with her at 8:30.
Call my sister and let me talk to her.
After learning of his mother's death, Neil grew increasingly agitated throughout the remainder of the interview, eventually requesting a lawyer and forcing detectives to end their questioning. With Neil shutting down the interview and refusing to cooperate further, detectives had no choice but to find another way to identify Norma's mysterious date. Hoping for a breakthrough, investigators sent officers to search for additional surveillance footage from locations Norma and her date passed by that night, and they quickly hit the jackpot. One security camera clearly captured the vehicle Norma's date was driving. By running the license plate, detectives identified him as James Carter. Detectives urgently needed to speak with James.
Stop doing that
the
dirt.
only other known person at Norma's house that night besides Neil. When they first approached him, he was uncooperative and outright denied seeing Norma. It wasn't until officers obtained a warrant for his cell phone data that he and his lawyer agreed to speak, on the condition that James received immunity and would not be subpoenaed for the trial. Once immunity was secured, he cooperated, provided a DNA sample, and shared his account of the evening. James explained that he met Norma on the dating site Plenty of Fish and arranged to meet at her workplace before heading to the bar for a few drinks. After leaving the bar, Norma invited him back to her house and they spent an intimate hour together at Norma's. However, James insisted Norma was alive and unharmed when he left around 11 p.m. Cell phone data corroborated his story, placing him back in St. Louis, where he lived, well before the estimated time of Norma's death. With James Carter officially cleared, the investigation was narrowed to two suspects, Neil Howard and Terry Dietz. Both men had means and opportunity. Both shared complicated, deeply rooted relationships with Norma. But without any physical evidence, detectives couldn't solve this with timelines alone. They needed a clearer understanding of Norma's personal life to pinpoint which of the two suspects was more capable of killing her. To do this, investigators brought Norma's daughters in, Andrea and Jenny, as well as Neil's girlfriend, Dawn, hoping their insights would single out the likely killer. However, these interviews would instead reveal a hidden detail from Norma's personal life, one that would turn the very people brought in to help into potential suspects themselves.
Sorry. I really appreciate the time to come and talk to me, so I'm patient.
Like I said, my biggest issue is, you know, I love my mom. Me and my mom are always been super close. Kind of the Terry guy came in, and he was just totally broken down.
So, what do you think?
You know, could I know permission or nothing? Especially when he's drunk and drugging and I mean,
tell me a little bit about what's going on.
She was so in love with that man, it's sickening, you know, and just my mom's relationship with Terry meant more to her, you know, than the relationship with her daughter. Well, and I guess what I'm saying is Terry just used my mom, you know, for her money and called her fat, and, you know, she just lost a bunch of weight. That being called her fat, and, you know, she just lost a bunch of weight. That being said, she would look for love on a lot of these dating sites. And so when we were living with her, she would, Andre, come here, you know, she was talking to multiple different people, and I even said to her one time, I'm like, you're gonna end up dead. Like, you don't even know who you're talking to. I mean, I've been over there several times since then, and this is what I can tell you. My mom and Neil are both alcoholics. My mom doesn't handle hers very well. She becomes very belligerent. And every time she's been belligerent with Neil, he always tugs his head and goes downstairs. I know my brother better than anybody in this world. Like, I am my brother's keeper, for real. And he wouldn't have hurt her. He wouldn't have. I've been through this before, you know.
Andrea and Jenny's interviews further confirmed that Norma's relationship with Terry and Neil was strained, troubled, and complicated. And Andrea's subtle mention that she'd been through this before reinforced the detectives' concerns about the family's violent past. However, when Neil's girlfriend, Dawn, entered the interview room, she would reveal something detectives never saw coming. A financial motive powerful enough to make everyone close to Norma a potential suspect.
5 M's? 8. Come on. Wake up.
6 o'clock this morning, what happened? And Neil just showed up. Terry showed up. Well, what happened in the morning?
Good morning.
6 o'clock in the morning, we all just showed up on site. Terry should not have known anything that would happen, but yet he shows up in front of the house. So, Mama had a date last night. I don't know who it was. She goes on these weird dating sites, which I warned her about. You don't know who you're talking to. Right. Mama has a habit of telling you where she's got all this money. So that's another thing to look into. Everything in my mind tells me Terry had to do with this. Mama showed me for some time. Terry is a big problem.
Alright, don't touch
Terry
me.
thought that his income
Oh shit, my phone's at one.
she was dating. It was probably making her really angry. She had an escrow.
More, when you looked at the that notification, why did you get happy like that?
Oh, cause I'm
You're saying this year,
With
who?
who?
Town State?
Yes. Like $5 million.
Do we know that for certain?
I'm not gonna stand up, cause I'm about to get back to you. Okay?
According to Dawn, Norma was due to receive a multi-million-dollar payout from the estate of her late husband, Charles Carricker, a
you
former
can still set
mayor
it up.
of Troy, Illinois, and a longtime local businessman. This revelation changed everything. Suddenly, anyone close to Norma
They
who
wanted that
knew
money.
anything about the money had a potential motive. Neil Howard, her financially dependent son struggling with alcoholism. Terry Dietz, her ex-boyfriend known for financial manipulation. And even her daughters, Andrea and Jenny, who stood to inherit a life-changing sum. With the suspect pool rapidly expanding, detectives began preparing to closely examine everyone who might benefit from Norma's death. But before they get to that, they caught a lucky break.
What the
Neil
fuck
Howard
do you mean, lucky
suddenly
break?
requested to speak to detectives without a lawyer. He was quickly brought back for a second interview, where he would finally provide detectives with some clarity, or so they hoped.
My mom, she comes home from one job, she works like 3 jobs. She's a sugar mama to more than one guy. Do you know these guys? I know of one, but somehow she go online and meeting guys, I end up bringing guys coming out of the house.
That doesn't talk for you, it's her son.
I usually gone. I usually leave her, I'm in bed, I'm asleep. I didn't even see her yesterday. She goes from one job to the other. And my sister was supposed to come by and take me to her old house, which is in Troy.
Can you?
To clean it and make sure it was clean. She was showing it.
Show me.
My sister didn't end up showing up. I can hear my mom upstairs. She comes in, changes shirt, changes shoes, and gone. She usually calls me when she's leaving her other job to ask me if she wanted to come to eat.
Hold up.
Wix, one platform, any website. Unlimited creation.
Can you hear? You can't hear that? Hold up. Not at the moment. You see I'm like comfy and stuff like that. Here, you go first. Mm-hmm. Everything good?
she called me at 9:30, quarter after 9, and says, is the recording coming up? 9:30. And she says, I've got bad company, which that means you can't make a noise, don't make a peep. Don't go upstairs, you're not there, basically. I said, alright, so what, I gotta hurry up. She said, just take all the clothes off the kitchen table and throw them in the laundry. So I took all the clothes, threw them in there.
Right? You didn't hear what I said. I went like this, and I said, everything's good, and then you just hung up. Like, I wasn't mad or anything, I was just saying, like.
I heard it.
Oh, so why'd you hang up?
Because you like to make faces at me. Why should I let them say faces at you? Remember that too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Both doors closed as I could, so I wanted to see what was in there. So I didn't see her drop her car off, but when I went back downstairs,
You could set your phone back up.
I heard the car, but I can hear it from the basement. Can't see nothing because the windows are real high. I called my girlfriend one more time and I said, so no chance of me coming. She broke her foot last week, so it's hard for her to drive. And I said, no chance you're coming tonight? And she said, I can't, she got me all day tomorrow. And I started sending her like love.
Nah, that's crazy.
And then I called my sister and I wanted to know why she didn't show up. And what am I supposed to do about dressing? I'm going to give it away on Saturday. I don't wear a tuxedo, I'm wearing dress clothes. No answer, so I loved her for a while.
According to Neil, at around 10:30 p.m., he heard the sliding door slam shut, indicating Norma's date had left. While this matched James Carter's statement, it didn't explain why Neil waited almost 3 hours before calling 911, claiming he'd found his mother unresponsive immediately after someone had just left the house. Those missing hours were critical to solving Norma's murder, and the detective was about to put Neil's timeline under intense scrutiny to extract any major inconsistencies in his alibi.
No.
Were you drinking last night? I was. What'd you have to drink? Like you'll see, I got a big jug. It was probably sitting right there by my phone. I drank that on that jug 2 days.
No.
So I'm gonna go back to, I wanna understand this a little bit more. Why this particular night did you decide to go check on her? If that's a normal.
I went because I heard the back door.
So you hear the.
You hear the door, you don't call for 3 hours?
Over the country,
so I could hear her talking to the dog.
Okay.
And she was like, get in here. And I heard her say to whoever was there, you ain't what? Hollering out her door, hollering, you ain't got to think so bad.
Oh.
So when you cracked the door, you let the dog out of your mom's bedroom. Could you see your mom?
I thought she was sleeping.
So then why did you call the police?
Yeah.
I called my sister and I called my girlfriend first.
If your mom sleeps.
If your mom sleeps, why do you call the cops, dumbass?
With a blanket over her, why? What made you decide to call the police? If that's a normal.
I was crying at the door.
This was the first major inconsistency in Neil's story. He was now admitting he'd entered his mother's bedroom and seen her covered with a blanket, completely contradicting his earlier claim that he didn't go in until instructed by officers. Rather than immediately calling him out on the lie, the detective decided to take a more subtle approach.
You killed
carefully
both of your
empathizing
parents?
with him and probing the
What a
complicated
fucking prick.
dynamics between Neil and his mother. The goal was simple: to encourage Neil to reveal why he hadn't been fully truthful about that night.
You killed your own parents. You're a fucking prick, bro.
I think that you got dealt a shit hand. I mean, you poor guy who's been through hell and back with health issues, and then you have to live in this basement.
All the sewage. Gross.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you're expected to be quiet. Every time your mom brings a new man home, and you have to sit there and listen to her estimates. And I tell you right now, I would bring a new man home, and you have to sit there and listen to her estimates. And I tell you right now, I would be upset.
You're known for that, even with my sisters. You know, but tell him my mom is dangerous.
Your mom's dangerous?
No, these random guys.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but you know what, man? Sleeping in the basement, putting on earplugs, avoid listening to your mom and have random guys coming over and listen to country music real loud and all.
Neil's acknowledgement of the tension between him and his mother was exactly what the detective wanted. A grown man, financially dependent, stuck at home while his mother dated other men. Neil openly acknowledged this uncomfortable dynamic, yet remained emotionally detached, showing none of the rage previously seen during his arrest. As the interview progressed, Neil's responses began to slip, revealing more contradictions and doubts about his story. But one specific detail stood out to detectives. Neil never once asked how his mother died. Most people facing such news would desperately seek answers. Neil's lack of curiosity felt suspiciously intentional, as if he already knew. With this, detectives wrapped up Neil's final interview with uncertainty still surrounding his alibi, and shifted their focus back to Terry Dietz, their other primary suspect. After thoroughly examining phone records, DNA evidence, and multiple witness statements, detectives confirmed Terry was at home nursing a minor injury the entire night, never leaving his property after 9 p.m. Physical evidence from the crime scene further cleared Terry. Additionally, investigators carefully examined the possibility of Norma's daughters, Andrea and Jenny, having a financial motive due to their substantial inheritance. However, their phone records and alibis during the critical time frame were verified, and detectives found no additional evidence suggesting their involvement in their mother's death. So, with Terry cleared and Norma's daughters ruled out, detectives were left with just one suspect: Neil Howard. By now, it was clear Neil wasn't going to confess, but detectives were confident that the contradictions, inconsistencies, and his behavior following Norma's death provided enough proof to secure a conviction. Ultimately, investigators felt certain Neil Howard was responsible for his mother's murder, and they formally charged him. At the trial, prosecutors argued that sometime between 10:30 p.m. and 1:30 a.m., Neil, heavily intoxicated and increasingly volatile, entered Norma's bedroom. An argument may have broken out, or perhaps the tension had been simmering all day. At some point, Neil strangled Norma with a bungee cord, then covered her up with a blanket. Instead of immediately calling for help, Neil repeatedly tried contacting his sister Andrea, just as he'd done years earlier after killing his father. Phone records revealed that Neil started calling Andrea at 12:49 a.m., making 7 attempts to reach her, the final call occurring at 1:30 a.m., moments before dialing 911. The jury reviewed Neil's shifting accounts, the physical evidence, and his documented history of violence. Prosecutors painted a clear picture. Neil Howard was unstable, violent, and entirely capable of murder. On February 10, 2025, Neil Howard was found guilty of first-degree murder. His sentencing is still pending, but he faces up to 60 years behind bars. Special thanks to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video.
Nigga, you kill your dad and your mom, and you only... Alright. Okay.